Hello, true believers. Welcome to my channel, Mr. Miracle Comics. My name is Dave, and today I have 5 more undervalued comics for us to take a look at. All right, so before we get into our 5 undervalued list, let's talk about something that just happened, and that is the Black Widow teaser trailer finally dropped. Um, Teaser trailer, I was looking at it, it's kind of got me excited about it a little bit more. You know what I mean? I was a little bit on the fence here about the Black Widow movie, but definitely the trailer kind of piqued my interest. I'd like to see a little more on the trailer before, you know, maybe it'll get me even more excited about the movie. Hopefully, it'll be a great movie. But in that trailer, we saw Red Guardian, right? David Harbour is playing the character Red Guardian. We spec'd on that book, which is Avengers 43 from 1967, I want to say. This is the first appearance of Red Guardian. Red Guardian, of course, is the Soviet Union's super soldier. They were they're trying to make a Captain America of their own. He was also in the same spy program as Black Widow, and they were forced to marry, and so Red Guardian became Black Widow's husband. And of course, in the Black Widow movie, they're probably going to explore a lot more of her background, try and let us in a little bit more about who Natasha Romanoff is and what's going on there, and who knows if it's like what they're going to do with this whole thing. Is it a prequel? Is it that Natasha was never really dead? Like, if you think about that, like the Hulk's like, it doesn't matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't bring her back. Well, maybe she was couldn't bring her back because she was never dead. Just one of those things, maybe. Anyway, it's most likely it's like a prequel kind of movie that explores into the Black Widow a bit more. So I spec'd on this book way back in beginning of March. So that's like 10 months ago now. Back then, when I was specking on this book, I paid $15 for this book plus shipping off of eBay, so it was about $20. This is probably a 6.0 copy. Once that trailer dropped, man, copy of this book get snapped up all the way. I mean, this book has seen quite a bit of a rise over the last 10 months. Copies in this grade now, you're looking more around the $50-$60 mark. Anything that was still priced kind of low after that trailer, they got snapped up off eBay right away. So if you did grab up a copy of this way back 10 months ago when I kind of pointed it out, great, right? You're going to see a nice return already on this book, probably like 4 times what you paid for it at least. And if you're interested in flipping, now's a good time to flip. Otherwise, hang on to it for a little bit. Flip it closer to when the movie is released. If you're an Avengers collector and you picked it up and thank goodness, you got it into your collection to complete that run before the price spiked and cost you an arm and a leg to complete your Avengers run. So, just pointing that out that things are working on this channel in these videos, right? If we're trying to get way ahead of the game, right? 10 months ago, there was no filming. There was barely any kind of script leaks, or people were speculating all wildly about a lot of stuff. It just made a lot of sense to me that they're going to put background characters into Black Widow, including a character that was her husband, Red Guardian. And, David Harbour playing him. David Harbour is a great actor, and I think he's gonna, really knock this role out of the park. So, yeah, it was good to see that. There was a little teaser of the Taskmaster in there. Definitely excited to see more about what the Black Widow is. Right? I mean, we're used to these big epic adventures now. Like you gave us Endgame, which was space and hundreds of heroes and bad guys and Thanos and time travel and rings, and now you seem to like bring it down into this Black Widow movie, one of the Avengers that actually has no superpowers, right? So we'll see how it goes. We'll see where it is. See how the public picks up on it. Let's get to our 5 value list, and I'll stop talking, and you guys can, write down some comic books that we can see, possibly coming up in value, just like 43, Avengers 43 there. So, first book on our list It is a Copper Age book. It comes from 1983, so just inside the Copper Age. And it's a fun book, and I picked this one up. I've noticed a lot of videos, including Comic Tom and all this other stuff, that have been doing true first and advertising first. And there's a lot of stuff, and we spec'd on some advertising stuff a few months ago on this channel with Daredevil 115 and Thor 225, which is the actual first appearance of Wolverine. I think Iron Fist 19 is another one, or Marvel Premier 19, one of those two. There's a couple others that also have an advertisement for Hulk 181 in it with Wolverine in it. So, in that sort of vein is this book, and that is Marvel Age number 6. Actually has the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill in it. And I did have this already, and I'll just have it. I have a couple copies of it, and this copy is really rough. This has some water damage, and it's quite rough, but I don't mind opening it up and showing you guys. That is Beta Ray Bill right there, and this book predates Thor 337, which is this book, right? We all know this is his first continuity appearance, true first appearance as Beta Ray Bill. But this book here has an advertisement appearance which predates 337, Thor 337. So you can still find this book cheap. Man, you can get this book less than $5. Like, I mean, it's Marvel Age. Nobody even goes to it, right? If you're out at comic sales, dig through the Marvel Age real quick. Try and find a copy of number 6. They're going to start getting snapped up. People are starting to know about this book for sure. But I think it's a fun book. If you can get it for, under $10 in a decent condition. This one's really rough. I wouldn't pay very much for this one. This one, the other one I have is much nicer. But if you can grab a copy of this for, less than $10, it's worth it, right? There's a Spider-Ham advertisement, an early Spider-Ham appearance as well on there. But again, it's one of those fun ones. It's not a continuity key. It's not has anything to do with the history of Beta Ray Bill, of course. But it's fun. It's fun to have that first appearance, right? All right, so let's talk about. Let's do this back. So that's Marvel Age number 6 from 1983. Look to pay around the $10 mark for a really nice copy. And it's hard to find Marvel Age nice copy because people just didn't pay much attention to Marvel Age, tossed them into piles and all sorts of stuff. It wasn't the most collectible book. So, next on our list, number 2. And this is a modern book. It's from 2017. And it is SpiderMan number 2. All right. So this bad boy, I found this. Recently there was a comic sale here in town. A couple of brothers that set up at a community center. They bring out, probably about 120, 150 long boxes of comics, set them up in the hallway, in the hall, in like the convention, the meeting hall at the community center, and let people go at them for cheap. So this was in there. Got this for $1.50. All right, and that's Spider-Man number 2. And this has the first appearance of Earth 616, Miles Morales. So the Miles Morales that we've seen in Into the Spider-Verse and that kind of stuff, he's from a different Earth. Remember, we're jumping around, and we're talking about the Miles Morales is in the Peter Parker that we know universe, right? Our universe. 616 is our universe, as it were, the main continuity Marvel universe. So this has the Miles Morales' first appearance, 616. Only he's not a good guy, right? He's a bad guy. He's like an evil Miles Morales. He's quite a different character than the Miles Morales we know from Into the Spider-Verse. And there's speculation that he is going to play a role, some sort of villainous role, in the next Spider-Verse movie. So there's going to be all kinds of different characters. People are speculating on Silk, which I think is a good spec pick. Spider-Girl, Spider-Woman, all those things for Into the Spider-Verse. And I think, this one is an easy pickup. Like I said, I got this for $1.50. I went and looked on eBay, tried to find out other stuff. I saw eBay was kind of averaging around $4 mark, $4 or $5 mark. There's several variants of this. It's not a low print run book. There's quite a few print. It was printed out quite a bit, quite a few variant covers, all that kind of stuff. So if you can find like a 1 in 25 variant or whatever, that's great. But picking this up, because if he does show up into the Spider-Verse, I would, pretty much guarantee it's going to make this book jump up in price more than $4 or $1.50 if you're lucky and found one like I did. So I think it's a good pick to put in there. Miles Morales, his first appearance ever. Shoot, I can't remember right off the top of my head. Anyways, that book has seen an incredible rise in price, especially since the movie. If he shows up as a villain in the movie with Miles Morales, and you only paid $4 for it, I'm definitely gonna think you're gonna get your money back and then some if he shows up. All right, so this book, Spider-Man, M-E-N, not man, 2. First appearance of Earth 616 Miles Morales, and yeah, look to pay around $4 or $5 for this bad boy. Not a hard one to find. It's a very high print run. Don't expect this book to see a $300 return or anything like that. But it's worth picking up at a cheap price because it may turn into a $20 book. All right. Ooh, excuse me. So, third on our list, and this one's a little bit, again, I found a copy at that sale, and it really reminded me that, yeah, this book is still not on people's radar. It's starting to. It jumped up really big, and I just wanted to point it out because I think there's still lots of copies out there that people aren't looking at. Conan the Barbarian, number 14, first appearance of Elric. So this, like I said, it's showing up on the Hot 20 list. People are buying it like crazy. Don't go looking on eBay for this book. People are asking too much already on eBay. Go and try and find it in your LCS, at a comic sale, somewhere where you can go around and dig into those Conan books. People ignore Conan so much. It is really quite a shame. I mean, I know he's not a superhero, but I've always enjoyed Conan, the Barbarian. I have completed my Conan collection from 1 to 150, and this was in there. But I also found another copy at that same sale last week, and it was in there with some Bronze Age Conans, and you can see the price on there. And that's a Canadian price. I live in Canada, so you're looking at $4 US, say around that. It's not mint condition, obviously, but it's not in bad condition. I'd give it a very fine. Right? So you can still find them. I know, don't go on eBay to look for this book because people are already crazy on eBay with this guy. However, there are all kinds of rumors talking about Netflix show, movie, new comic books, all kinds of stuff. And I really think right now in the fantasy category, there's a big hole in the entertainment industry, right? Like once we lost Game of Thrones, there's like a big hole, and Game of Thrones obviously proved that there is a big audience for this kind of stuff. Now, I don't think Conan is going to get much love in that sort of vein. They've tried Conan a few times with varying successes on those movies, but Elric and Michael Moorcock's books are excellent fantasy novels, and I really think that Elric would make a fantastic story, especially like a Netflix show, or you could do it over several different issues. Elric is not a Marvel property. Okay, it is owned by Michael Moorcock. He has his own set of novels, which are excellent books. If you're into reading fantasy and you haven't read Michael Moorcock's Elric stories, do yourself a favor and pick those up from a dollar or from a used bookstore or whatever. This book, though, is what we're talking about. If he does see some more love and get a Netflix show or something similar, a movie or whatever, expect to see no more $5 copies of this. Already, the $5 copies are getting snapped up fast, guys. Grab this book if you can. I just wanted to... Normally, I wouldn't put a book like this in my top 5, but I still think the copies are out there, and I still think you can find them if you just went out, did some shopping, got underneath it. And I think it's a good pickup. And if you're a Conan collector and you don't have this in your collection yet, go get it, because if there is a Elric property of any kind, this book's definitely going to see a big spike, right? Conan, like I said, wasn't the most loved book. Print runs were, average. They weren't, crazy with Conan print runs. They weren't super high print runs like SpiderMan or anything, but they were an average print run back in the 70s. This book is from 1972, by the way. It's 47 years old. Um, so finding them for $5, even if there wasn't a first appearance in it, a 47-year-old comic book in very fine condition for $5 is a good deal. Whew. All right, so that is pick number 3. That is Conan the Barbarian, number 14 from 1972, and possibly a movie, possibly some sort of streaming TV show connected with Elric. I think it's a good buy at around $5. If you're looking for a nice mint condition copy of this book, I think it's a good buy at $50, $60 in that sort of range. Okay, now I bought this book years ago. I didn't pay very much for it all the way back then. Anyway, pick number 4. Let's get this video rolling here. So again, trying to get ahead of things. I'm really going to start trying to think of more X-Men villains. We know the X-Men are coming. We know the Fantastic Four are coming. They've talked about it. Kevin Feige's talked about it. There's all kinds of rumors around it. So let's start trying to figure out a few X-Men, possibly X-Men villains that may show up in the MCU. And one of my picks, it's a little bit of an outside pick, but I picked the X-Men number 191. It is from 1985, a copyrighted book. And this book has the first appearance of a character called Nimrod. And Nimrod is a special type of Sentinel. Sentinels have always played really, really heavily into the X-Men storyline. Sentinels have, represent the human beings in X-Men comics and how human beings are always fighting against the mutants, and we can't just fight, Wolverine mano a mano, so we build giant robots and we fight them through giant robots, right? So the Sentinels there. Nimrod is a very special Sentinel from the future. We know the MCU's had some future dealies already, people coming in, people coming out, multiverses, and I think he'd be a good pick. He's never been in a movie before. He connects back to the Sentinels. He's from the future. He's incredibly dangerous. He can change his appearance to look like a human being, like morphing himself, much like in, the Terminator 2 with that sort of morphing technology or whatever. So I think he's a good pick, and I think this book is still really undervalued. Get this book for around the $10 mark. If you do your shopping well, $10 for this book is not an unreasonable, price to find it for. Don't go too nuts. It is only Nimrod. He's not like the most popular character in the world, and villain first appearances tend to not increase in value nearly as much as the heroes. So don't throw a whole bunch of money at this book. But I think if you can find a copy, and I did find this one for less than $10. All right, it's still a good buy at around that kind of price. All right, so from 1985, Uncanny X-Men number 191, first appearance of Nimrod. Okay, we'll go for another modern book here in our last pick, and this one's a little more pricey, but I think it's worth it, and I think it's really undervalued. There is going to be an animated show about this movie, or about this comic book later this year, or maybe it's even out now. I have to take a look. Anyway, I'm not really speculating on its increase based on that. I mean, a little bit because it kind of gets more recognition, but it is from 2003, and it is Superman Red Son. I think that this book has the potential to be Superman's Dark Knight series. If you've never read it, I highly suggest you go and get a trade paperback and read it, or read it online. If you're interested in buying the series, the entire series itself, it has been seeing a nice steady rise over the last while. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. You can still find entire sets. Like, it took me a while, but I found this entire set in mint condition, and it was about $60 US. I'm just trying to do a little conversion in my head, plus shipping. So I think in total I probably paid around $80 for the 3 of them. That's a good price at this point. There are lots of people on eBay asking way too much for this book, although I have seen it even at auctions, like going way, way up, right? But I sniped this one out at around $60 mark. I think it's really, really good book to have in your collection. Like I said, it could really see value. Prestige format book, right? So there's lots, dark black covers that these books have. Um, yeah, I really like this story. I think it's totally underrated, undervalued as a comic book, and well worth picking up at around the $50, $60 mark for all three, like the entire run. Okay, like I said, this is raw, right? There's slab ones and all kinds of stuff like that. I think people ask a little bit too much sometimes on eBay for this book, but it is. I just continually see it going up in value, up in value, up in value. And again, it's got an animated cartoon, but the animated cartoons definitely don't have the same impact on comic books that like live action movies do. But this book it's just popularity in itself, and it was a low print run, being in a prestige format. So from DC Comics, I wanted to make sure I got a DC comic in there today too. So from DC Comics, Superman Red Sun, 2003 limited series. Look to pay around $50, $60 for 1 to 3, and try and get all three of them together. That's nice to have a nice complete set of that limited series. Really great story, fantastic story by Mark Miller. Um, yeah, and yeah, you just illustrations are great. The whole thing is just a really fantastic book, and becoming more and more popular all the time. This is Superman's Dark Knight Returns. So, like I said, 2003, Mark Miller, look to pay $50, $60. Superman Red Sun limited series. All right, guys, thanks for listening to me today. I hope you found some books today that you're going to go out there and put on your list to hunt for. If not, I hope you were at least entertained by my ramblings today. Anyways, this has been Mr. Miracles Comics. My name is Dave. I'll see you guys next video. All right. Yeah.